Chapter 12, Your New Ontario Story Begins Now. Sections. Section 12.1, A Letter to Your Future Self, Affirmations from a Confident Job Seeker. Section 12.2, Your 4-Week Action Plan to Land Your Best Job. Section 12.3, Quick Reference Resources to Keep at Your Fingertips. Section 12.4, A Final Word of Encouragement, Ontario Needs What You Bring. You have walked through the practical steps, networking with honest warmth, interviewing with the quiet power of your years, negotiating a salary that respects your worth, and navigating those first 90 days with the grace of an experienced soul. Now you stand on a threshold that is less about tactics and more about identity. This chapter is not a summary of what you have already read. It is your launchpad. It asks you to write a letter to the future self who has already succeeded, then hands you a 4-week blueprint to make that letter a reality. It gives you a pocket of quick reference tools so you never feel alone at a critical moment, and it closes with a truth that Ontario needs to hear: you are not too old to begin again. You are exactly what this province has been waiting for. Section 12.1, A Letter to Your Future Self, Affirmations from a Confident Job Seeker. Before you send another application or walk into another networking room, I want you to do something that may feel foolish at first. Sit down with a pen and a piece of paper, real paper, the kind you can fold and keep in your wallet, and write a letter to yourself as if you are already sitting at your new desk, in your new role, on a sunny Ontario morning 6 months from today. Do not edit. Do not worry about grammar. Just let the confident, employed version of you speak to the version who is still trying. Begin with "Dear friend," and then describe the details. What does the office look like? How does the coffee taste? What did your supervisor say this morning that made you realize you truly belong? Then write the part that matters most. What did your current, struggling self need to hear? Perhaps it was your accent is not a flaw, it's proof you dared to cross an ocean. Or the 3 rejections this week were not closed doors, they were wrong keys for a lock you didn't need to open anyway. I have a small collection of such letters in my desk. One was written by a woman named Samira, age 63, who arrived from Cairo with decades of accounting experience and a fear that her age would muffle every interview. Her future self wrote, "You will walk into that interview and the hiring manager will mention the grey streak in your hair. You will smile and say, that streak represents 35 years of never missing a payroll deadline. And that will be the moment they decide." Samira read that letter every morning until her job offer arrived. She still reads it on difficult days. Figure, with light background and high contrast, create image in landscape orientation best describe and represents the flowing. Make sure it is accurate and there is no repetition. Extra detailed AI-ready prompt for AI-generated diagram showing a close-up of a woman's hands writing a letter on textured paper, a cup of tea nearby, soft morning light from a window, a small Canadian flag pin on the notebook, and an expression of calm determination. The background fades into a faint, dreamlike image of a modern Ontario office with a welcoming team, symbolizing the future self. Composition is warm, intimate, with a shallow depth of field, high contrast between the bright paper and the darker room edges. Now craft your own. Below are the affirmations you can weave into your letter, each one distilled from the lessons you have already absorbed in the earlier chapters. Let them sink in until they feel not like borrowed phrases but like your own heartbeat. My age is not a liability, it is the reason I can be trusted with moments others panic through. Every rejection is a redirection away from a place where I would have been hidden, toward a place where I will be seen. I already know how to learn, adapt, and rise, because I have done it in 1,000 small ways since the day I landed in Canada. The right employer will value a steady hand over a flashy shortcut, and I am the steadiest hand they will meet. Write your letter today. Seal it. Schedule a reminder on your phone to open it on the morning of your first day at your new job. That envelope will become a bridge between who you are now and who you are becoming, and bridges, my friend, are built by walking them. Section 12.2, Your 4-Week Action Plan to Land Your Best Job. Hope without a calendar is just a wish. The next 28 days will move you from intention to interview, from interview to offer, if you commit to a small set of actions every morning. I have seen this rhythm work for dozens of mature newcomers. It respects your energy, it builds momentum, and it keeps despair at bay because you are always moving forward, even on days when the silence from employers feels loud. Here is your daily non-negotiable. Spend 45 minutes, before you do anything else in your job search, on one focused action from the plan below. Protect that time as you would protect a doctor's appointment. The rest of your day can be for family, for rest, for the life you are already building. But those 45 minutes are a promise to your future self. Week 1, Polish and position. Day action. Figure, with light background and high contrast, create image in landscape orientation best describe and represents the flowing, make sure it is accurate and there is no repetition. Extra detailed AI-ready prompt for AI-generated diagram showing a clean, flat-lay desktop scene with a laptop displaying a resume on the left, a notepad with handwritten networking notes, a smartphone with LinkedIn interface, and a cup of coffee. The layout uses a weekly grid lightly overlaid on the surface, with subtle maple leaf motifs, all in a crisp, modern style. The lighting is soft and natural, casting gentle shadows. Week 2, Connect and converse. Stop sending applications into a void. This week you will speak to at least 3 human beings who are already working in Ontario. Use the networking confidence you built in Chapter 7. Monday, reach out to one former colleague or acquaintance who immigrated before you. The message is simple: I'm building a new professional circle here and I'd love to hear what surprised you most about working in Ontario. Can we talk for 15 minutes? Wednesday, attend a free online event through Eventbrite or Meetup focused on your industry. Type one thoughtful question in the chat. Friday, contact a professional association, see the resources in section 12.3, and ask for an informational interview. Frame it as learning, not asking for a job. Remember, every conversation is a door opening just a crack. You only need one crack wide enough to slip your foot in. Week 3, apply with precision. Now you will send a handful of applications so carefully tailored that they feel less like lottery tickets and more like keys cut for a specific lock. Aim for 3 to 5 high-quality applications by Friday. For each job posting, highlight the 3 skills the employer mentions first. If the posting says must handle conflicting priorities, use that exact phrase in your cover letter, then illustrate it with a 1-sentence story from your past. Use an OTS-friendly format, but never let it strip your humanity. The human reading your resume will respond to clarity and quiet confidence. After submitting, make a note in a spreadsheet: company name, date, what you admired about them, and a reminder to follow up in 10 days if you hear nothing. This is not a numbers game. It is a fit game. And fit takes time. Week 4, follow up and prepare for the golden interview. Your earlier applications and conversations are seeds. This week you water them, while sharpening the interview skills you learned in Chapter 8. Monday, send polite follow-up emails to any application from week 3 you haven't heard from. Keep it to 3 sentences, remind them you applied, restate one value you would bring, and ask if they need anything else. Wednesday, schedule a mock interview with a friend or a free settlement service. Practice that one question, aren't you overqualified, until your answer flows without defensiveness. Spoiler: I bring the qualification to do the job, and the wisdom not to get bored or restless once I'm doing it. Friday, prepare your outfit, your route, your backup Zoom lighting. Visualize walking into that room and seeing not skeptics, but future colleagues who simply don't yet know how much they need you. Figure, with light background and high contrast, create image in landscape orientation best describe and represents the flowing, make sure it is accurate and there is no repetition. Extra detailed AI-ready prompt for AI-generated diagram showing a wall calendar marked with colored sticky notes for each week, a senior's hand placing a checkmark on Friday of week 4, a steaming mug with Ontario text, and a faint background of a welcoming office door slightly ajar. The palette is uplifting, warm teal, soft gold, and cream. By the end of these 4 weeks, you will not just have sent applications, you will have rebuilt your job search muscle memory. And here is the secret: the process itself reshapes your confidence. When an interview finally comes, you will recognize the room because you have been preparing for it every day. Section 12.3 Quick reference resources to keep at your fingertips. When you are in the middle of a deep search, you don't need mountains of information. You need the right name, the right link, at the right second. Below is a curated list of resources tailored for a mature newcomer in Ontario. Bookmark this page, take a photo with your phone, or print it out and pin it above your desk. Resource what it gives you how to access. Figure, with light background and high contrast, create image in landscape orientation best describe and represents the flowing, make sure it is accurate and there is no repetition. Extra detailed AI-ready prompt for AI-generated diagram showing a rotated smartphone screen displaying a neat list of resource icons, a bridge, a graduation cap, a phone, a magnifying glass, each with a one-word label. The phone rests on a wooden desk next to a handwritten sticky note that reads "You've got this." The composition is clean and uncluttered, with a cup of tea and a small Canadian flag in the corner, all in soft morning light. Keep these resources close, not as a crutch, but as a reminder that Ontario has already built bridges for people exactly like you. You are not alone in this journey, thousands of mature newcomers have walked it before you, and many have left behind clear signposts. Section 12.4 A final word of encouragement, Ontario needs what you bring. I want to leave you with a small story. A year ago, I met a 70-year-old engineer from Sao Paulo named Rui. He had been in Toronto for 6 months and had applied to 40 positions without a single callback. His daughter had typed his resume because he struggled with the formatting. When he sat across from me, his shoulders were curved inward, not from age, but from the weight of feeling invisible. We did not change his entire life. We changed one line on his resume from retired civil engineer to civil engineer with 40 years of designing infrastructure that has never failed a safety audit. We practiced answering the question, "Why do you want to work at this stage?" with the truth, "Because I am still curious, and because I have made enough mistakes to know how to help others avoid them." 3 weeks later, a small engineering firm hired him as a part-time mentor to their junior staff. Within 2 months, he was full-time. Not because he became younger, but because he refused to pretend his age was anything other than his deepest asset. Ontario is not a province that needs only the young and the fast. It needs the steady, the patient, the wise. It needs people who know how to calm a panicked team, who can spot a risk before it becomes a crisis, who understand that loyalty is not an old-fashioned word but a currency more valuable than 100 short-term hires. You carry those gifts. You may not have the local jargon yet, and you may still be learning the rhythm of the TTC or the accent of a Tim Hortons order, but you have something no one can teach in a 2-day workshop, the perspective that comes from having already built a life, maybe more than once. Walk into every room, even the virtual ones, knowing that you are not a supplicant asking for a favor. You are a solution that the right employer has been silently searching for. Your story is now an Ontario story. The opening sentence of this chapter was written the day you decided to stay open, to keep learning, to refuse to be defined by a number. The next sentence is yours to write. I will not wish you luck. Luck is too random. I will wish you the courage to show up as yourself, the clarity to know your worth, and the patience to let the right door swing open. Ontario is waiting. And so is your new beginning.